Hi, this is Alan Donald with Keller Williams Realty, and I've been selling homes here in the Charleston area since 2004. A couple of our specialties are seniors and probate. And today we have a special guest, Justin Tapp, an attorney that is an estate planning and probate attorney, to answer some of the most common questions that come up in the probate process.
Thank you so much for having me. Like Alan said, I'm Justin Tapp, and I own the Tapp Law Firm. I'm located in West Ashley, and I focus my practice on estate planning and probate.
Welcome. So one of the questions that you get all the time is, does having a will avoid probate?
It does not. It's a common question. People think I have a will, I don't need to worry about probate. Having a will in and of itself is not going to allow your estate to avoid probate. It will make probate easier because in your will you're going to lay out who's in charge and who you want to inherit your estate. But probate is, as you can think of it, as the state's way of kind of clearing a title on an asset and determining where it goes. So if somebody passes away and they own property, their name's on the asset, a bank account, a car, a house, that's where probate court comes in and takes their name off of it and gets it to the person that's supposed to inherit it.
Another very common question that people in probate ask is, how much does probate cost? Does the state or the probate court take a portion of my estate?
No, and the answer is, like most answers attorneys are going to give you, is it depends. I will say that at no point is the state or the probate court going to come in and take your estate. There are fees associated with probate. There's filing fees and publishing fees and those kind of things. But the court fee is going to be based on the size of the estate. So if you have a large estate, your probate fees are going to be kind of high. If you have a smaller, more modest estate, your probate fees are not going to be as high. So it's proportional. The fees come out of your estate. No one else is ever on the hook to pay for them out of their own pocket. Honestly, where probate can get expensive is when you hire an attorney to help you go through probate. A lot of people, you're in probate because somebody's passed away. If you're the executor, it's probably somebody you were close with, a spouse or a parent or someone like that. It's an emotional time, and people aren't really in the right mental state to be dealing with the administrative process and keeping up with timelines and making sure all the boxes are checked and everything gets filed on time. So they will hire an attorney to help them go through probate. And attorney's fees are really going to vary depending on the complexity of the estate, the size of the estate, how much there is to it. So it can vary widely.
Okay, so that's one big incentive to plan the estate before you pass away.
Correct.
To avoid some of those fees.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's great to know. So the question is, do you need a lawyer or an attorney to do the probate?
Again, it's going to depend. It's going to depend on a lot of things. The sophistication of the person that's going through probate. Some people are very intimidated by the idea of even dealing with any kind of legal procedure. Some people are, I have a client who's actually a retired attorney, but he lives out of town. He's hired me to administer his mom's estate. She passed away here in Charleston. So he just doesn't want to have to deal with the travel back and forth. So I get a lot of clients where the parents passed away here, but they live out of town or in another state, and just the logistics of it necessitate hiring an attorney. Sometimes there's complexities to the estate. They need help. They need help doing things. So they'll hire an attorney for that. Hiring an attorney can be very beneficial just in that anything that happens, you're going to call your attorney. If you get an email from the court, you call your attorney. If I'm working with someone for probate, I tell them what I need, and then I'll take care of it. I'll call you when I need you. There's a lot of gaps where you might file some things and then you wait a few months and then you do some more things. So I think it gives people a peace of mind that there's someone keeping an eye on that, watching the timeline, knowing what's coming up and needs to be filed, making sure it gets filed correctly and doesn't get sent back and they ask you to do it again. So it depends a lot on the estate and who's in charge of taking care of it.
Right. And how do most attorneys charge? Do they charge a set fee or an hourly fee?
Yeah, and again, it's going to vary. Most attorneys will either do a flat fee or like an hourly rate. Some will do a retainer and then bill on top of that. I do it both ways. I've done a few on flat fees where I kind of know what I'm getting into. I do other ones that might be more complex or we're not real sure how things are going to shake out down the road. We'll do it on an hourly basis. I try to do it to where it comes out better for the client, honestly, so they don't get an unexpected expense at the end. that they're not looking
And
for.
you mentioned something that is interesting, that you take care of all the legal for someone in probate. So our team has put together a team of resources to complement the attorney. So where the attorney services stop, we can pick up with anything related to real estate, estate sales, valuations, property improvement, all that, to provide the services that are required for someone, for example, who lives out of town, or someone who is not able or willing to take on that project management feature that you need to have when you go through an estate.
And that's so beneficial. Even when someone hires an attorney, for example, I'm going to help them file their paperwork. I'm going to make sure everything gets done correctly. I'm going to ask them the right questions and make sure everything gets documented. But I'm not going to be the one to handle the estate sale. I'm not going to be the one to handle the sale of the house. I'm not going to be the one to help them clean out the house or anything like that. So the services you provide are incredibly beneficial for people going through this.
Another question we get often is, why does probate take so long in South Carolina?
Sure. So South Carolina probate takes longer than most other states that I know of, and that's primarily because of our creditor period. So the creditor period is basically once someone has passed away, you filed the will, you publish in the paper that someone's passed away. Creditors of the estate have 8 months to come forward and say that the estate owes them money. Even if you know there's no creditors out there, or it's just a couple credit card bills that you've taken care of, that's the statutory period. So there's no exceptions once that creditor period is opened, and you cannot close the estate until the end of that period. So best case scenario in South Carolina, it usually takes about a year to a year and a half from start to finish. And that just, again, is mainly because of the creditor period. You have a little bit of work in the beginning, and then once the creditor period ends, then you begin to wind up the estate, and that's going to take time to do that as well. So it's usually at least a year before it's all said and done.
All right, that makes sense. Are other states a lot quicker?
Yes. I don't know the exact lengths of the creditor periods in other states. I know some states are as short as 3 months. Some states have exceptions for like the size of the estate, or like a single heir to the estate where you can do them a lot quicker. There's a couple caveats in South Carolina where you can get done quicker, but most cases are going to be the full length.
All right, that makes sense. Okay, Justin, well, those were very interesting answers to some of the most common questions that come up in probate. Again, if you want to reach Justin, what's your contact information?
Yeah, my phone number is 843-350-1792. You can find me at tapplawfirm.com. There's 2 P's in my last name, and my email is justin@tapplawfirm.com.
And if you want any resources, in addition to legal resources for probate, you can reach me at buyhomesinCharleston.com, 843-900-0155. This is Alan, and until the next one.